The brake rigging system consists of a brake cylinder with a piston connected to the hand brake and a live horizontal lever. The live horizontal lever is connected to the dead horizontal lever by means of a tie rod. It is important to note that there is only one tie rod in a BLC wagon, as there is no mechanical advantage in a load-empty box. In contrast, in a conventional wagon, there will be one tie rod for the empty condition and one for the load condition. The live horizontal lever is connected to the SAB and its pull rod, which is further connected to a floating lever, brake beam, and brake shoe. The dead lever is connected to the non-SAB end main pull rod and the control rod of the SAB. The non-SAB end main pull rod is connected to the floating lever, brake beam, and brake shoe of the other end bogie. The wagon has a clasp-type brake beam connected by a push rod, and the rear end of the floating lever of the brake beam is fitted to the anchor brackets of the wagon body by means of an end pull rod with 6 holes and a pin arrangement. SABA dimension is the distance between the slack adjuster barrel and control rod head, measured when the brake is fully released condition and is to be kept as 70 mm plus 2 and minus 0. E dimension is the distance between the reference mark on the SAB screw rod and the end of the SAB adjuster tube. This should be between 555 mm to 575 mm for wagons with 840 mm full diameter wheels and all new brake blocks with a thickness of 58 mm to 60 mm. Since brake block wear reduces thickness from 60 mm to 20 mm, there will be approximately 40 mm of take-up on the brake beam and 160 mm of take-up for 4 brake beams, which will typically reduce the E dimension from 555 mm to 395 mm. Manual adjustment of end pull rod pin hole. In case of new wheel of diameter 840 mm, pin should be on the rearmost hole of end pull rod, since condemnation limit of the wheel diameter is 780 mm, that is, reduction of 60 mm of wheel diameter is permitted. End pull rod pin to be adjusted, one hole inside for every 10 mm wear of wheel diameter, since end pull rod has 6 hole provision. To measure the length of SAB pull rod, make a mark at a distance of 200 mm from the reference mark on SAB screw rod. At this mark, one end of the pull rod is welded to the screw rod. From this mark, measure the length up to the center of hole provided to facilitate connection with floating lever. This will give the length of SAB pull rod. This length should be 3615 mm for BLCA wagon, and it should be ensured during ROH and POH of the wagon. This length will be different for different wagon types. The length of non-SAB pull rod for BLCA wagon should be 1720 mm, measuring from the center of the hole provided for connecting the dead horizontal lever to the center of the hole provided connecting the floating lever. The corresponding lengths of SAB pull rod and non-SAB pull rod for BLCB wagon should be 2955 mm and 1555 mm respectively. These lengths are also to be ensured during ROH and POH of wagon. Load Sensing Device or LSD has been introduced for achieving two-stage braking, that is, empty and loaded, with automatic changeover of brake power in wagons to prevent wheel skidding on empty wagons and improving stopping distance of loaded wagons. The LSD is mounted by means of nut and bolt on a bracket welded on the bogie bolster. The bottom part of the LSD has a plunger and it is at a certain distance from the Z plate welded on the lower spring plank. This distance should be kept as 16 mm. The LSD has one inlet port which is connected to auxiliary reservoir, one outlet port which is connected to DB through double check valve and one exhaust port. During empty condition, the air entering inlet port will not reach outlet port and a pressure of 2.2 kg per centimeter square will be sent to brake cylinder. In loaded condition, the air entering inlet port from auxiliary reservoir will exit through outlet port and reach the distributor valve through double check valve. The distributor valve will sense the load and will permit a pressure of 3.8 kg per centimeter square to the brake cylinder. This will increase the piston stroke and braking force on the wheels. Container wagons with LSD arrangement are provided with special type distributor valve having pressure transformer in distributor valve designed to have a connection to LSD. In conventional wagons, this port will be in closed condition only. Piston stroke after application in empty condition should be 95 plus or minus 10 mm for BLC wagon. It is to be noted that the piston stroke may vary depending upon the condition of brake cylinder springs and SAB springs. To check the piston stroke in loaded condition, lift the plunger of any one side LSD by a Tommy bar and check the piston stroke. It should be 120 plus or minus 10 mm. The piston stroke in empty and loaded condition depends on wagon type and should be maintained accordingly. It should be ensured that only standard pins and bushes are used in brake gears and there are free movements of horizontal levers in the slots without any obstructions.